Give me a minute. So as we present today about ways that ESL teachers make their income or make income, we'll be starting with a land acknowledgement, and then we'll have and hear some ESL teacher stories from Hanem, Scott, Leah, and myself, and then we'll be having a time for question and answers after that. Scott or Leah, can I just ask you to monitor the room and just be letting people in as we move forward? Okay.
Yes, I will help with that.
Okay, perfect. Okay, well, welcome everyone. We're going to start. My name is Trevor Fall. I'm the current president for TESOL Manitoba, and I know that we have people all across Canada that are joining us today. We're going to start with a land acknowledgement that is from where most of our presenters are, which is in the city of Winnipeg in Manitoba. And so I will read through that, and then we will have different people telling their stories and sharing a bit of advice on ways that they are making an income, and then we'll have a time for question and answer towards the end. Feel free as we go through, if questions come to mind, um, put the questions in the chat or write them down. And then when we have a question and answer time in about 45 or 50 minutes, then that'll give us a chance to ask those questions. We're also going to, let me just copy it. There's also a Google Doc that people will be able to um, access. I'm going to put that into the chat as well. And so if people have questions outside of this meeting or something pops up in their mind, then you can also paste your questions, or if you think of resources or information that you would like to share with the group, that can also be shared through that Google Doc so that we can be creating more details and information for people as we move forward in the next coming months. So I will start with reading through the land acknowledgement specific for the Manitoba-Winnipeg location. So Winnipeg is located within Treaty 1 territory. We want to acknowledge that we're located on the lands of the Anishinaabe, Anishinaabe, Dakota Oete, and Dene Sule, and the national homeland of the Red River Métis. We recognize and honor Treaty 3 territory, Shoal Lake 40 First Nation, the source of Winnipeg's clean drinking water. In addition, we acknowledge treaty territories which provide us with access to electricity we use in both our personal and professional lives. We respect the treaties that were made on these territories, and we dedicate ourselves to move forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. People from all around the world have come to call Canada home, and as the original inhabitants of this land and inhabitants of this land by birth or adoption, we all share the goal to make our country a better place to live based on mutual respect, equal opportunity, reciprocity, and hope. Okay, so as we go through our presentation, I will stop sharing. And so Hanem will be sharing a little bit of her story. So each of us will be talking for about 10 to 12 minutes. We don't have a little hook to pull people off the stage, but we can plan for about that time from each of us, and then we'll have a time for questions. So Hanem, feel free to share your screen and chat a little bit about yourself.
So I would like to say hi to everyone first. Good morning to all provinces. I don't know which provinces you are from. So it is nice to be with you in this beautiful Saturday morning. I hope you are not getting too much snow in your province. Okay. So I would like to share my experience as an educational assistant. Right now, my name is Hanim Kokan at at the first place, and I'm working as an ESL instructor at Red River College. And right now I am working full time. Before I used to work as part time, and I was working like a full time education assistant. Since I got a full time role at Red River College, I changed it to part time. So I will come to that in my next slides. Um, so right now I'm not doing educational assistant like this term because I was taking courses from University of Winnipeg. That's why I just pause it, but I am still in this system for substitute, and I have an option to pause and I can continue, winter term. So my plan is to continue upcoming winter term working as an educational assistant. And I am also a student, like I said before, at University of Winnipeg, and I am trying to obtain my teaching certificate, like Manitoban teaching certificate. And I'm a parent of 13-year-old lovely boy, um, teenager now. And why a second income? Um, So, for many of us, like ESL instructors, hours can be limited or seasonal. And for the time being, with the funding changes, so we need a second income source. And having a second income source provides stability. And for me, it also gave me professional growth and a deeper connection to schools and newcomer families. Um, so I would like to talk about the role of an educational assistant. So when I say my friends, my colleagues, that I am working as an educational assistant as well, and they are really curious. They want to know what I am doing, where I am working. Um, so first of all, as an educational assistant, I support students. I prepare classroom for learning, and I am assisting teachers when needed, and I'm assisting students one-on-one with learning challenges. And also I am helping newcomer students with EAL support, and it is the best, like very close to my ESL role, and I really enjoy it. So I support their language development. Um, so other assignments like we guide behavior, of course, and help students to stay engaged. And in many cases, like we work closely with teachers, again, like provide individualized support so students can participate, succeed, and feel confident in their learning. So I used to work one-on-one with two students before with autism. Um, and it was a really unique experience for me. And, it was really like, uh, um, rewarding, like for me. So you are working with students and then you are reporting the families. But at the very beginning, I don't want to scare you. At the very beginning, you don't start with, of course, like they don't assign you to, you know, the jobs which is asking more. So you start as a substitute first and you pick jobs from school to school every morning, and then you gain experience. As you gain experience, you can apply other jobs like supply position and full-time position or permanent positions. And they assess you, and then when they think like you are ready, so they assign you to different roles. Um, so again, like academic support, helping students to stay engaged, helping them learning, and you supervise them like during the break times, and you collaborate with other EAs. You cover their break and they cover your break. And again, like you are helping with EAL. So this job requires communication, of course, and patience. And since we have a lot of newcomers, cultural awareness also um, and key skill and optional EA certification. Some schools, school divisions, it is kind of mandatory to have EA certification, but it changed with COVID time, like a pandemic. Before I was applying for this job and I didn't get the chance to get a job because they were asking for certification. But the pandemic time, they were kind of okay with the experience. So since I had teaching experience, I was able to get in school system like for EA job. But some school divisions, they are okay with not holding certification. They are looking at the experience only. So what are the benefits to have EA job? Of course, extra income. And let's say you are working as an ESL part-time of evening instructor, you can work a full-time EA, educational assistant during the day. And also it is helping to get engaged with professional, environment, professional networking. And if, understanding the K to 12 system, and also it is rewarding work for me and for us. And so this is kind of local information, and you can just adjust it to your provinces. So we have a lot of school divisions here. And when I'm talking about EA positions, sometimes people think it is not for me. Since they have a maybe unique experience or they have negative experience, so what I would suggest to give it a try. So try different divisions. There are a lot of different divisions with different expectations and schools, age groups, and find the best fit for your overtime, and in the job description, substitute job description especially, you have this note. If you are like, if you think you are a good fit for some school or one school, you can communicate with them and they will call you on a regular basis. I hope you know what I mean. So and give yourself a chance, and again, yeah, try maybe different age groups. Like sometimes elementary school is best fit for me. It is the best one. I never worked for high school. It is not, it didn't happen yet. Like I would like to give it a try maybe later. But high school is a good fit for some of my friends. They really enjoy working at high school. And my husband also, he used to work as an EA last year, and he was working for high school. Um, and he liked it, he liked it there. It was kind of challenging, of course, but it will change to person. So you might think it is a good fit for you too. So what I would suggest, if you just give it a try to different age groups, different grades, or maybe different learning abilities. Also be kind to yourself with logistics. So when I first started, I used to travel from um, north to south. Like there were really huge gap between the schools, and I was traveling a lot, and the traffic was exhausting. And then one day I came up with the idea to list the schools under 10 minutes driving first, and then I just drop it to 5 minutes, and I find my best fits, like two schools, and they are 3 minutes driving away from me. So this change made my work so much easier and more enjoyable for me. So you can try that too if you start as a substitute first. So again, like when you start as a substitute, you are picking up jobs every day, every morning. And like you will have job for sure. Like every morning, you just need to get up and you just need to pick maybe the best, I mean, the closest school to you. So you need to hurry. um, so what I mean is explore, adjust, and give yourself time. And uh, the right school division or age group might be closer than you think, and but you need to try to find it. So balancing two jobs and life. So this is something we would like to talk about today. So of course, there was one time I was working at the college as an ESL instructor, like evening instructor, and I was working like half day as an EA and half day I was taking courses. So that was the most busiest time of my life. And I had like 10-year-old kid that time. So you may guess like how it was really busy and hard to handle. So to balance my life, like I really plan my day. So like with my husband, of course, who is picking up the kid, who is dropping him, who is like cleaning, cooking, everything. And I use 2-month calendar and I put it where I can see really clear. I write all my meetings and courses, upcoming, things, family occasions, etc., etc. And this is really helping me organize my life and boundaries. So, our job's really rewarding. I really enjoy my ESL job and also EA job. Engaging with people, engaging with students. It's really rewarding. I really love my roles. But you need to know your boundaries at some time. So what I mean is I would like to give you concrete example to that. For example, some of my friends, and I used to do that too, they avoid their break time. They say, I'm okay, I don't need to take a break, I can work, but your body, your brain needs a break. So like when you say I am okay, everyone will think you are okay, and one of my teachers, for example, she was saying, oh, she won't mind, she's okay, with not taking break. Because but you need to watch your break times, you need to watch your boundaries at this job, and your emotions, of course. Since our students, they have challenges in their life, sometimes we might empathize a lot and we would like to do more. So when you know your job description very well and not exceed um, your responsibilities, that is what I mean, knowing the boundaries. At the beginning, we don't like we are trying to do more and more, and then it is kind of consuming.
We have
And
one
also,
minute. Sorry, 1 minute left, Tannen.
okay, I'm almost done.
Okay,
And family support and skill transfer also. So this job is very close to our ESL job. And yeah, I am done, I guess. So thank you so much for listening to me. And if you have any questions, you are more than welcome.
great. Yeah, thank you, Hannah. And I think it was key, the different points you mentioned, because not only is it a similar field that many of us could transfer into, but there are opportunities. And since COVID, I think there's been more uh,
Yes,
opportunities, but having family balance and the boundaries, etc., is a key part of juggling all of these things. So thank you for sharing that.
exactly. Thank you so much, Trevor.
Good. Excellent. Okay, Scott, you're up. I see you're smiling and you have your thumb up, so you're ready to go. So let's buckle in as we listen to Scott's life experiences.
The video is frozen, everyone. I'm just kidding. It's not frozen.
Okay, there we
Hello, everyone. Hi, hi, hi. Let me see if I can turn off Haneem's screen here. Is that possible on your end,
Oh,
Haneem?
sorry. I forgot to. Sorry.
It's okay. Thank
Okay.
you, Hanim. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you, Mr. President Trevor, for inviting me here. Thank you, everyone, for coming here. I have a shout out to people in the West Coast. If you are here, hello, everyone. Hi. I will be spending my Christmas holidays in the West Coast, so maybe we will cross paths with each other. For those of you in the East Coast, I will also like to say hello to you. Hi, 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 hi. My plan right now is to have a short road trip to the East Coast in the summertime. So, yes, we will have an opportunity to cross paths as well. Hello, everyone. My name is Scott Lau, and following Hanim's great presentation, I would like to share a little bit about myself. I don't have a PowerPoint ready, but I do have something to show you with my screen sharing a little bit later. First of all, I like to have a short introduction by saying that I come from Winnipeg. I was born and raised here. I lived in China from 2008 till 2023. I was teaching English there while learning Chinese and learning more about my roots, my ancestral roots. For a very long time, I have been into photography. Photography was always a hobby of mine. Starting in high school, I was the yearbook photographer, the first person to have a fancy DSLR camera, and I was self-appointed as the photographer for the school. And since then, I've been loving to take pictures of people. And my camera is right here to show everyone how serious I am. Since the high school days, I've upgraded 4 or 5 cameras. So I'm pretty hardcore that way. Yes. Aside from my hobby and my introduction, I've been thinking about my life. I've been doing a lot of soul searching, and I noticed that a lot of people in my generation growing up here in Winnipeg. So I speak for myself. I speak for my friends that grew up with me. We have a problem. The problem is when we were growing up, a lot of our instructors, teachers, perhaps even parents they would say to us that money is not important. Follow your dreams. We were growing up with this kind of mantra. Now that I'm an adult with a wife and 2 kids and a lot of bills to pay, have found the hard truth that this was all a lie. Money is very important. And I spent too much time following my passions because passions make me happy, but they don't make me money. So the hard truth is, yes, money is important. And this is the second round. Trevor has invited me to participate in this forum of ways EAL teachers make money. The first time around, I was very surprised because I never considered myself as someone to uh, make money. No, I am far from that position. I need to learn from everyone here. So Trevor, Hanim, Aliyah, as well as everyone else in this group right now. That's why I'm going to BC so that I can meet some of you. I'm going to the East Coast to meet some of you. Yes. So long story short, from all of this soul searching, I've come to believe that what I was taught before, that money was not important, was a lie, and that we should only pursue our dreams. That is also a lie. But what I've concluded is something similar to what Hanim was suggesting, which is a balance of sorts. So, this conversation that I would like to provoke today comes at a really good time, as well as this topic that Trevor is introducing, because our industry is taking a big hit all across Canada. Immigration is slowing down. A lot of ESL jobs are, um, we're all worried, to say the least. Many of us are worried about our futures, our careers. A few months ago, someone added me on LinkedIn asking, "Hey, Scott, it seems like you're enjoying your job as an EAL instructor. Do you think I should pursue this position? Should I get a TESOL certificate or should I apply for some jobs?" My simple answer was, I support whatever you do in the future. Although you should know that the political climate has changed for the immigration status, and it is quite hard to have a lot of students. So yes, we are all worrying, and I bet that most of us that are attending this meeting here today have the same kind of feeling. So I would like to talk about several things. Uh, Let me share my screen. Coming up soon. All right. Please give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. The screen should be left side browser, YouTube, right side a transcript. Is that what you see? Good. I have two monitors, so I hope you don't see my second monitor. It's really boring. It's the Excel spreadsheet that Trevor sent. That's not what I'm presenting today. So, yes, if you can see my browser, YouTube, and my transcript, that's great. The first part of what I would like to talk about, one of two, so that everyone knows that there's only two things to expect. The first part, it comes from a movie. The movie is called Up in the Air, and it came out in 2007. So it's not a new movie. It's an older movie from 2 decades ago, I guess. I actually, honestly, have not seen this movie, but I like to watch a lot of clips online. It's hard for me to commit to a full movie when I have two kids. But also my wife doesn't really like to watch movies, and I don't like to watch movies by myself. So that's another problem. Um, a little side note, I'd like to acknowledge everyone has busy lives. Everyone is working their butts off. Everyone is worried for their futures. I like to acknowledge this. I am not special in this kind of context. Everyone is dealing the same things. All right, so with this movie, it follows George Clooney. In this movie, his character's name is Brian Bringham or something like that. Once again, I never watched the movie. I watched many clips, and this one clip in particular really resonates with me. Uh, it, I thought this clip was really fascinating even a few years ago, but now in the situation that we're faced right now, I think it's even more relevant. It's super relevant. So this clip, this transcript is over here because we won't have time to watch the whole clip of 3 minutes, but we will watch some of it. There's this guy. He's a famous actor. I don't know his character's name in this movie, but he does play J.J. Jameson from the Spider-Man movie. So let's just simply say that he's J.J. Jameson for this movie too. And then there's another woman. Her name is Natalie. She's in this clip. And Ryan is George Clooney. George Clooney, or Ryan, he is an HR representative from his own company. He gets hired by the companies all around the United States, probably, to go and fire people or to give the bad news to people. He is a specialist in this field. So in this clip, he's talking to J.J. Jameson, and he's basically letting him go. And J.J. Jameson is like, dude, I have kids. What am I gonna do? Does that sound familiar? It does to me. It does to many of my co-workers, which is why I think it's so relevant. So basically, JJ Jameson is like, I can go on EI, but what's EI? That's like nothing. When I have two kids, when I have a mortgage to pay, and then this Natalie person, she's a newbie in this company in the HR department, and she's trying to be very what's the word? Objective, give him some kind of support. And then he's like, "No, I don't like that. What you're saying is BS." Um, Pardon the profanity here. This is the direct transcript that I will refrain myself from saying that. And then Ryan, the specialist, steps in and he realizes that something is wrong. He simply asks some questions. He starts off with, do your children admire you? Is this important for you? And then JJJ is like, yeah, well, it was. I'm about to lose a job. There's nothing for them to admire anymore. And then Ryan was like, actually, I doubt they ever admire you. Wow, what a sharp knife to the heart. So he was like, yo, profanity was used in this movie. A lot of profanity. I wonder if it's rated R. And then Ryan was like, do you know why they love athletes? Kids. Well, do you know why kids love athletes? And then JJJ is like, of course, because of the lingerie models. It's a no-brainer. And then Ryan, he's very serious about this. He's like, no, that's why adults love athletes because it seems like they have it all. But for kids, they love athletes because they actually follow their dreams. They see the kids following their dreams. So this is the same kind of mantra that I was taught when I was little. And then JJJ is like, well, you know what? I can't dunk. Trying to say that, he can't be an athlete. And then Ryan was like, no, but you can cook. And then basically he follows up with, how much did they first pay you to give up on your dreams? And that really, really hit JJJ. That's when he really realized, you know what? Something is going on here. Ryan knows what he's talking about. And then Ryan finishes the conversation by saying, not everyone gets this kind of opportunity. So, there's a silver lining. It's hard. We're gonna lose our jobs, baby. This industry is going down. We have a lot of responsibilities, but it's not the end. So let's watch this clip starting from the how much did they pay you to give up on your dreams? Here we go.
I'm not sure if you're still sharing the screen. I'm not seeing it on my end, Scott.
Oh, that's embarrassing. Uh, how about now? All right. Let's start. Can you hear anything? Jonah says yes. Grace says yes. Can you hear the video? No. Okay, let me play the video again.
Scott, I was able to hear and watch the video at the first place. Might be something with Trevor's screen.
Okay. Was it okay now? Just now when I played it? Could you hear, Hanim?
It's okay, yeah.
Okay. Let me continue. Yay! What a great movie. One of these days, I'm definitely going to watch this movie from start to finish and not just clips. All right. Thank you very much. The second thing that I would like to talk about today is
And just you have
as
2 minutes, Scott. Just
all right, 2 minutes is all I need. Thank you.
good.
The second thing I would like to talk about is a Japanese philosophy called Ikigai. The first round, when I was having this kind of talk, I mentioned Ikigai. And Ikigai is the kind of balance that I was talking about, the balance that I have been thinking about, yearning for in the past few years when I realized that what I was taught as a child was not the complete truth, and that a balance is needed and it is essential. So, this kind of balance is called ikigai according to Japanese philosophy. Ikigai connects four different aspects of our lives together. We have what you are paid for doing. So, a teacher or a photographer, something that you're good at. I'm fairly good at taking pictures, and I think I'm okay at being a teacher in the classroom. I love it. I love being a teacher. I love being around people. I love helping people. The world needs it. At the moment, a lot of our newcomers and immigrant students or exchange students, they need language. So we connect the four components together and we have reached Ikigai. Ikigai is a way for you to balance your work life so that you don't feel burnt out. You feel like life is meaningful. You feel like the things that you're doing is worthwhile and that time does not exist. You are in the zone with what you are doing. Basically, this is what I would like to propose, an optimistic kind of perspective in our current situation and um, a way for us to embrace this kind of opportunity. We are given a chance to live our dreams. And we are adults enough to make our dreams something that is not just a plaything. It can become our careers. Thank you very much, everyone. I have some videos here in the link many, many links to share with everyone. I will very shortly share this PDF document to our group. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Excellent. Okay, thank you, Scott, and appreciate the resources and the information and just kind of how you guided us through of there's lots of things that we can be doing, but we do also have to be conscious of what's bringing us income and managing during these times of uh, change that we're facing. The third person I'd like to introduce is Leah, and she's going to share a little bit about her. Uh, we say maybe a little bit riskier in some of our minds, but just how she is an independent contractor and the things that she has that she does in order to make an income. So Leah, go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. I'll just say, Scott, your stuff's still showing. We can see your inbox stuff. Oh, and we can't hear you.
I'm so nervous. How do I turn off my screen? Leah or Hadim or Trevor, please teach me.
There you go. You got it. You're good.
What? I got it. It's good.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
that was easy.
Hi, everyone. My name is Leah Mitchell. I'm the owner of Prairie Sky English. I don't have a PowerPoint, but I've got all my talking notes that I want to cover. So I'll give you a quick background about what I have in terms of education and training. My first degree is actually human resources, and then I went and got my Manitoba teaching certificate, and then I actually got my ESL certificate. So I started actually ended up going into education training, ended up working for a not-for-profit for over a decade in workforce development. And I'd always wanted to get into the ESL realm just because I did exchanges at university. My brother had worked in that realm sort of casually. He did the JET program. And I just always thought it was very interesting. So when I decided to leave my not-for-profit position, I was getting my ESL, and I'll be very honest, doing the research in what ESL instructors make, maybe a not-for-profit. Basically, I wanted to make more money, and I knew that if I did my own thing, I probably had a better chance of making more money. Now, I have a partner that has a full-time job, so I do have a little bit of flexibility in what how I decide. I can be a little more up and down with my income. So that's why I chose to start my own business rather than say working for a college or for a not-for-profit. I just was, I want to make my own hours. I want to decide what I want to do. And so basically what I do is I have my business called Prairie Sky English, and I do a variety of programming or contracts through that. So if someone says, what do? I would say I'm an independent consultant contractor in a very niche market. So I do things like I will take contracts where I will find the work and I will go into businesses and teach English in the workplace. That business will hire me to teach the English in the workplace. I also have a contract with an ed tech company. I don't know if any of you have heard of Engine. They're amazing. They're a language platform, and so I actually work for them as well as their Canadian advisor. I've done other contracts as well through my program, but those are sort of the main things that I'm focusing on right now. Why I like contracting, number one, I'll just say this. Businesses love contracting because they don't have to pay you, the extras, the benefits, things like that. And let's be real, most of us who are in that realm, out of curiosity, who here has a full-time benefits ESL position? Is there anyone? No, it's you're contracting anyway. There's no guarantee you're going to have a contract the next time. And when you take those contracts as an independent person like me, I can say what I want to get paid. You know, people might say this, you have a more of a, I guess, a say in what you're getting paid, which I think is a big difference. Most of us have a lot of skills and qualifications. I mean, I've heard of things where someone's a certified Manitoba teacher and they're working ESL and they're not making a teacher's wage. You know, but I'm not going to change this into a big, this is my opinion thing. But that's why I chose to go into the realm that I did, because I wanted the independence. I wanted to make what I feel I'm worth, and I wanted to have a say in when and where and work and how I work. Um, there's obviously challenges to running your own business. I don't just show up to a workplace and teach English. You run a business, I do everything in that business. I'm doing the marketing, I'm doing the networking, I have a website. I'm very active and vocal on LinkedIn to get that brand awareness and get people to notice what I'm doing and have conversations. Businesses they want to see that you're legit. It's not I'm just going to go out tomorrow and get a business. How I actually started was in my old job, I was doing work with workplaces in another capacity, and I ended up chatting with some rural companies who were looking for someone to come in and teach English. Just at the time, I was getting my ESL, and I'm like, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. And that's how I got into it. And through that, through all the things that I've done, that's how other opportunities have come my way. So you do have to be very visible. You do have to market. You do have to, it takes time. A couple other things here. Sorry, I'm just bringing up my notes here because I want to make sure I don't, a couple things I would say if you're going to go in this realm. Sorry, did someone say something? Oh, if you're going to go in this realm, make sure that you start in it. If you're going to do it, I would start now and get resources, get set up with someone who can maybe be a coach, because there are a lot of things. You have to know how to put proposals together, how to talk with the right departments, how you're going to meet these HR people to have these conversations about what you can offer and what can you offer. So that all makes a real difference. I would also encourage you to not just look at teaching English in the workplace. I would look at the other opportunities that you have. So, for example, I got into educational tech because I was teaching English in the workplaces, and we all know that prep can be awful if you're constantly going to new businesses. So I actually started using Engine, and it was through using that platform I realized there was actually a lot of different language platforms out there. And so that's how I ended up working with Engine as well. So, I mean, there's lots of great, if you're going to go into teach English, I would actually encourage you to look at using a language platform to cut down on your prep to use with the learners. So there's Engine, there's ELE, there's actually my company Engine just acquired ESl Ed. They're another great language platform. And then you just factor that into your costs, what you're using. I would also encourage you, I'm just in my business sense, to think strategically where you are right now. If you're not, this is personally what I think is going to happen in the education realm in Canada. Canada's cutting. They're going to look for more cost-effective ways to offer language. And we can all sit here and say, in the classroom is the best way, but realistically, people have to work full time. People don't have time to go to classes for 9 hours a week if they're working 2 jobs. I really can't see it going back to what it is now. I think that with tech and AI, I think there's going to be more of an involvement and an investment in that. So I would say, even if you strategically want to sort of be that person that stays around in that group, in that school or company where you are now, I would encourage you to be that person that brings in that tech. So when they're looking at being a more cost-effective program, you can be the one to say, well, I brought in ELE or I brought in Engine. You've been managing this. They're going to keep you around because you're the one that showed them that more cost-effective way to reach learners, to get people their language. So that's just another way to think about the ed tech piece, is using it now and bringing it in so that you're showing your value. So that's something I'd also add just from a business sense, because, not-for-profits, colleges everywhere, I mean, yes, they'd love to keep everyone, but it's a numbers game and they have to be cost effective in what they're going to do. So I would really make yourself invaluable in whatever way you can. And maybe that's not just ESL. How many minutes do I have left, Trevor? I just want to make sure I'm not going to go over.
2 more minutes.
2 more minutes? Okay.
Sure.
So the biggest things I would say, I like contracting. It's easy enough to open up your small business, and then you just funnel whatever, contracts you take. You could be taking a project management contract. It doesn't have to be ESL. Everyone here has a lot of skills. Just going around and, I would say, leverage your connections that you have. Is everyone here on LinkedIn? If you're not on LinkedIn, I would 100% get on there. Let me ask you this. How many people post on LinkedIn regularly? I would say LinkedIn's probably been one of the best ways that I've made networks and opportunities and connections, but you can't just go on and look at other people's. You actually have to have thought leadership. You have to post what you're doing in a professional manner, show them that you have the skills. That's how you reach out to people. That's how you reach out to businesses. That's, how you find out who's the person you would even reach out to at that company you're thinking about. I'd look at, a lot of times rural companies have a lot harder time finding an English teacher. I would start in areas where you know there's a need and there's nobody doing it. Be that person willing to do the drive, to do the teaching. I didn't start out getting, all these opportunities at the beginning. Like I was the one driving an hour to go teach English outside of the city, things like that. So it does take time, but if you're willing to put in the work and keep yourself visible, then there's definitely opportunities in the business realm with ESL, with contracting, with different opportunities. Um, I think that's unless yeah, I think that's all. That's all I've got. Unless anyone had any, but we'll have questions at the end. So
Excellent. Thank you so much, Leah. And as Scott had mentioned earlier, we had presented together last May, I think it was, at our TESOL Manitoba Spring Conference, but I'm glad that we're reaching a wider audience with this. And I love how the different things that has been talked about and then what I'm going to talk about, it all kind of broadens our perspective of what's available and what's out there. So I'm going to share my screen. I will try to keep in about 6 or 8 minutes. Well, I'll say 8 or 9 minutes so that we can have time for questions and have a chance to chat a little bit outside of this. Um, Let me just move this into fuller screen mode and then okay. So let's go here. I'll see. Sometimes my computer manages it, sometimes it doesn't. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, perfect. So I'm going to give a very quick glimpse at different things that I've been involved with over the last 20 years. Everything in here is basically looking from 2004 to 2025, 2026. But I want to just show you how, even though we're in the ESL field, there's other experiences and areas and like Scott said, passions that we might be involved with that can also be utilized that we can look to make an income from. So again, I'll go through this very quick. The slides and the video recording will be available for people to see after, but over the years, I've taught academic English at various universities overseas and in Winnipeg, and also worked with newcomers with the CLB levels. And then starting in 2020 or 2017, I moved into the area of training ESL teachers. So that's been more in the teaching side as a career. I've also had various side hustles. And so here's just a couple of them. There are more, but I used to import products for 4 or 5 years from Indonesia, and I'd lived there for 5 years before that. So I had good relations, good connections. But I tried network marketing. I've taught IELTS, ISL, PIP, and TOEFL privately, English in the workplace. I had a proofreading and editing website for a few years that I was able to make, $50, $100 a week. Not much, but enough to have some income. Some months were $300, $400, $500. Life business coach. I've worked in medical travel insurance, especially for seniors, and was a financial planner. I was a security guard because when you don't have much money and you're kind of desperate, you do whatever you need at that point. And I knew that that wasn't going to be a long-term career, but it was something that I was able to do. And that was after I had my master's. I'll explain why in a minute. But I've also managed apartments and tenants, and that one it's harder to see, but with basement renos. And then yeah, we always hear about passive income, and there isn't anything purely passive, or it's very limited. But somewhat passive is our family's hosted about 45 to 50 students in the last 15 years. So every 6 months or a year, we've had one or two students live with us. So we help them, and there is, of course, a financial reward or income we get from that. I have products on Teachers Pay Teachers. That's not much, but some months I make $10, some months $20. I don't have any right now, but I had rental properties in the past, and I have lent money out on real estate projects at 15% interest um, within that. And I'd say in the last 2 years, just thinking and looking at, on a napkin basic idea of, how would we set up a tutoring business, a lawn and yard care business to buy, renovate, refinance, and rent a property so you still own the asset, but you're getting monthly income. Pet waste disposal. There's a few examples across Canada where they've gone from one office. There's one company there in 7 or 8 different cities, and now with technology is you know, and because I was always thinking in some of these jobs, what could be areas where I could employ newcomers at various levels of English, um, that we could be working together in things and providing jobs for people, as well as providing a service to people. So lawn care, yard care, etc. And then AI automation and aid generation, as Leah was mentioning, if you are studying some of those changes or looking at some of those, there's lots of opportunities, whether it's within the ESL field itself or outside of that. One thing I'm working on, and as Leah was mentioning, people are busy. So if we could have a class online or in person one day a week, and then we're utilizing AI programs and feedback for them to still study another 2, 4, 6 hours. So it's kind of like flipping the classroom. Uh, in 2004, I'd been overseas and came back to Canada, and again in 2016. So I had no rental history, no credit, no job at those points. And that's where in 2016, when I was working at a Shoppers Drug Mart with security and then as a cashier, because I needed an income. And the manager even said, "You're overqualified." I said, "Yes, but I need to have an income." Um, Twice I've been down to just a few $100s in the bank, and I had 40,000 in credit debt. And then in 2009, 2019, I was working at a 2009, I was at a university and there was cuts. 2019, I was at a nonprofit and we had cuts. And then now in the last year, I was cut both from the University of Winnipeg and I was unemployed for a few months from Red River College, where I'd been working for a few years because of the funding cuts that are coming. And for a while, my wife had cancer, so I was a single income household for actually most of the last 20 years. Um, so what I got good at was managing expenses and incomes and just looking at what are the different expenses, like how do we manage our taxes if we have debt, our housing costs and our food, and then how can I make income that would cover some of those expenses? I think sometimes we're looking and saying, oh, I want to replace my income and make 3,000, 5,000 a month. But I think when you're first starting or if you're looking at side jobs or income, take something that um, is manageable. So, for example, as I mentioned, we have homestay students, and that is covering most of our housing expenses and costs and taxes, insurance, etc. I was coaching a teacher, and she said, "Well, we have a dog, and it costs us $300 a month. I don't want to get rid of my dog." And I said, "No, no, don't get rid of your dog." But I said, "You take your dog for a walk. Maybe in your neighborhood, you can be dog walking at the same time for 2 or 3 people, and you can get 100 a month or 200 a month just from something you're already doing. Or maybe, you know, you or your family picks up the pet waste, maybe you can provide that just in your neighborhood. You're not trying to make this huge business, but something to help manage the expense of that specific area. Um, and taxes, I'm not a tax accountant or a tax lawyer, but just a quick heads up that having a side business can reduce your taxes. Consult a professional. But since 204, I've always had one or two side businesses that I declare with CRA, declare the income, but then also have write-offs and expenses, even traveling overseas, etc., can be if it's part of the business that you've set up. But in all of these areas, I just want to highlight that it's the knowledge of what we're doing and how we're that we know that helps us with the different things in our life. So I'm not going to take time now, but I want you in the next few days just think about what knowledge do you have and how can that either increase your income or how can that save you money? Okay. So for me personally, you saw I have a background with real estate, with fixing and doing renovations. I grew up on a farm. I'm not great at most jobs, but foundations, roofs, kind of the general tear down demo, those things I'm great at. Um, But in my case, I've managed or had friends who were mechanics, so I've always bought lower cost vehicles over the last 20 years. So that saved me money as compared to buying brand new and then having the depreciation. Again, this is a lifestyle choice for me and our family. Not everyone wants that, but I also see many, especially our newcomer students, they say, oh, they have a 50 or $60,000 vehicle, and that traps them. Whereas if they would have bought a 20 or $30,000 vehicle, they would have had a little bit more flexibility financially. And then the house we currently live in, we bought for 75,000 under market value. There, it had some foundation issues, but they were in a back add-on section. So a contractor friend and I fixed that for $2,000. So these are bigger examples, but even, just knowledge of where to shop, what prices to have, any of those things where we're looking at our taxes, our debt management, housing, and food. And so over the next few days, as I mentioned, think about for yourselves, what are your abilities and interests? What are the small buckets that you can pay your bills? So like I mentioned, the person who had a pet, myself or our family having homestay students, what are the different expenses or buckets that we have? And then how do we cover those with income in different areas? And most people are good at either making a high income and then they spend a lot of it, or they're really, really frugal and they're great with saving money, but they're also living on a very minimal income. And so balancing and taking both offense and defensive moves and action, and it's been mentioned that there's funding cuts, but I'm looking at it from the other lens. There's now there's tens of thousands of students that will be not accessing classes as of March 31st, 2026. That's a shame that they don't have access to that, but that's also an opportunity for us anywhere across Canada. Tutoring, helping people with their professional enhancement, workplace English, job interviews, etc., or with helping them reach their academic, passing exams or getting prepared academically if they want to pursue higher education to get the Canadian credentials from their professions. So I would be more hopeful than pessimistic of what the changes are happening, even though it will shake up our industry. Couple of other pieces of advice as I end off: know your financial situation. Again, know your income and where your money is going, coming in, but also the expenses you have. Talk with a teacherpreneur or coach, join community or workshops, and then start spending time in different network groups or Facebook groups or others where there's, about real estate, buying, selling, understanding vehicles, finances, business, etc. So as I end off this part and we move to a Q&A, feel free to approach any of us that are on the panel. There's several teacherpreneurs that I've highlighted here that I follow. So you can see James is an American. He's helped with different programs. He's set up over 5,000 teachers. Elliot Phillips is a British person. His focus is more helping teachers with their marketing to get higher qualified students more consistently. And then Andrew, Mike, and Leo, I don't know if some of you have heard of them, but there are three teachers that started working together about 10 years ago, and they help Canadians, teachers, look at how to become more like tutoring more or more entrepreneurial. So we'll move to a time of Q&A, and then at the end, we'll include some links, or well, not links, but I should say our contact information if you want to follow up with some of this. So let me stop the screen. All of us have had a chance to share and ask questions, and would like to open the floor now for questions from our audience. This is where it's harder to make eye contact. So it's like our students in class, they sometimes look away from us like, no, don't ask me, or I don't have anything I can't think of something. But feel free to either raise your hand, unmute yourself and ask the question, or put the question in the chat.
Um, yeah, I did have a question. So, regarding the discussion about working as an education assistant, that is kind of an area I've considered. So I'm wondering, like, what would be like some recommended programs to take for the certificate, like in Winnipeg, or say taking online another province, for example?
Yeah, excellent. Hanem, do you have any insights or advice for
No,
Joanne?
this is a question for me, I guess. So there are certification programs available at some different colleges and universities, I guess. I'm not sure about the universities, but Red River College is offering 9-month certification program for educational assistant. But for us, might be we might not need of it. They can't count our experiences as you might not need it, because my husband also worked as an educational assistant, and his school division counted his experience. He was working for Dash company. He was managing a residential home where the people live with the people with disabilities live. So they counted his experiences enough for this role. And he was working with high school students with you know disabilities. So he was doing hygiene, and there are different levels of disabilities. At some point it requires like hygiene. You might accept it, or you might say no, I don't want to do it. And there are different like disabilities with autism, for example, where you help the student with their academic program, with their learning. But my husband, literally, he didn't do any academic help. He just there watched the student, and the students also, they didn't have any academic learning. They are just coming to school, and uh, I don't know how to put this into words. They don't, because they don't they can't, so they are there, and the educational assistants, they are supervising them, guiding them, and teaching behavior, maybe guiding the behavior. So that's the job description for them. And there are different roles, like for example EAL. I was teaching newcomer students. I was teaching how to read, how to write, pronunciation, etc., similar to our ESL job. So there are different roles. So
Yeah.
what I would suggest you to is to try first applying to different school division where you might get a job without any certification. So yeah, but if you really want to do this job, and if you would like to get the certification done, you can look for colleges like I know Red River College has it, but I am not sure with other
Yeah, I just put into
colleges
the
or
chat.
universities.
So a quick Google search revealed Red River College, Robertson. I'm not sure with Robertson right now, but Assiniboia College and then St. James School Division, because they have a need for EAs, they started an EA program a couple of years ago. So there's a couple of options for
Mhm.
getting certification. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you both.
Yep.
Yeah, but I would suggest first try without certification, because you don't want to, I don't want to say waste time. Your experience might be good enough to
Mhm.
get the job.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Other questions? Advice, how to find tutoring clients. Who wants to take this? I always have lots of advice, but I'll let others share their experiences as well. Okay. Leah, I know you mentioned LinkedIn.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do one-to-one at all. I do workplaces, I do groups. So, like I said, in terms of that, it's a couple different things. It's word of mouth, it's reaching out, it's showing up where those businesses are. It's reading the newspaper and seeing like, oh, who's hiring a bunch of people. If they're hiring, 100 entry level positions, there's probably gonna be newcomers. It's finding out who has language programs right now. So it's really doing the work and seeing what people are doing. And like I said, it's getting visible. So a business isn't just going to hire. If you just show up and say, hey, you should hire me to be an ESL teacher, that's probably not going to happen. You have to have a LinkedIn awareness. I have a website. You have to have some kind of brand so that you look legit, that they're going to invest in you, because you're going to charge more than working at it. So you have to kind of have all the backing to be able to charge. So that's sort of how I would say you got to network and you got to get out there.
I can give answer to that too. So we were looking for a French tutor for my son, and Nextdoor is a great place for job postings and finding, clients, like it for everything, even for renovation and everything. I don't know if you familiar with this application, Nextdoor. So it is kind of popular, getting more popular now. And Facebook Marketplace and Kijiji. I don't like LinkedIn. It is more for more professional people. So the best place would be like something like Nextdoor, where people look for English tutor, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I put the links from the PowerPoint into the chat as well. James Liu has an excellent 21-day teacher challenge. Sometimes it's offered for free during the year, other times it's $50 or $100. But he goes through and shows people how to identify the niche they want to be in, but then also to wrap around that and market themselves on LinkedIn a little bit, but more Facebook and Instagram, etc. So, and there's other free resources that some of these coaches or teacherpreneurs offer. Um, Leah also just added with the EA training. Yeah, what's your ROI? What's your return on investment? Does it make sense to study for another year? But what is the cost? How long would it take for you to pay that back? If, as Hannon said, if you can go and say, oh, I have this background and this experience already, and then maybe be teaching or working within the school district without needing that certification. Again, I'm not sure in different provinces, but in Manitoba and Winnipeg, we have a shortage of teachers and of EAs. And so uh, I know several people that don't have any training but started as an EA and have worked their way up. A friend of mine, now he's been teaching for 5 years. Sorry, not teaching. He's been an EA for 5 years and he's at the highest pay level because as he had seniority, well, experience in different environments, then he was given access to a little bit of training, but not the full program. But the school division moved his salary now to the level 4 or whatever the highest level is.
I would just add one thing, and sorry, when I have to go here soon, but two things. If you're deciding to switch careers completely, sometimes like I said, I used to work in workforce development. There are programs out there. So, for example, in Manitoba, it's called Training and Employment Services.
Mm,
Sometimes they will fund up to 2 years in demand work. So, if you're thinking of switching careers entirely, it might be worth looking into what are the in demand careers, where is their funding. Am I maybe just done with ESL and maybe just want to have a few clients one-to-one, on the weekends or something? That might be something to look into. I'd also look into, if you live in a rural area and you want to start a business, look into Community Futures.
yeah,
They are an amazing support for businesses. They'll help you build a business plan. They can give you coaching. Sometimes you can even get grants. Like I got a grant one time to, help work with my website. So those just might be options as well if you're thinking of going in those routes, or a different route entirely.
yeah, that's excellent advice within that. We actually will be doing a PD. I have to be in touch with the province, but the province of Manitoba has a speaker that talks about their service and training programs and how you can transfer, especially if you've been placed on EI or let go from your company or place of work. So we will be doing some kind of informational session about that in February or March. Oh, okay, yeah. So Community Futures across Canada. Um, Good. Other questions that people might have? Okay. And I know some people may have to go and maybe we'll just kind of end here formally, but then I and some of the others can stay on for a few more minutes. But as we mentioned, this will be recorded and put on the TESOL Manitoba YouTube channel within the next week. And we'll send out a link. Feel free to go to the Google Doc. I'll put that in the chat again. If you want to leave your email, either if you have questions, if you have advice or resources, but also sometimes like we send out this information across Canada through TESOL Canada and different provincial groups, but we may not, like if we do other things in the future, maybe we miss that, or but if you want to get an email directly whenever we're having some of the sessions, TESOL Manitoba will be joining with BC Teal to talk more about transferability skills from our profession and moving over. So there's different things because we know this is a time of nervousness and worry in our industry, but we want to provide as organizations help for people across Canada. And, you know, as all of us shared this morning, we're passionate about what we're doing, but we're also teachers and passionate about helping others. And so any of us can be approached and help with, you know, coaching, giving advice, or just telling more of our story within that. Teaching abroad, that's a great question, Victoria. So the question is, has anyone considered teaching abroad and what support should we have? There are different organizations in Canada and the US that help find or at least to have a platform for positions that are overseas. In some countries, there might be specific recruiters that or recruitment fairs looking for teachers from North America. So I don't have a bunch of websites that I have right this minute, but we can provide that in a follow-up or put in the comments or the Google Doc at a later time. Usually your contract is with that institution or the organization that helps you go there, but there are a lot of times where it's just kind of you're on your own, so it may or may not be the best for you. Yeah, I know some people are having to leave, which is fine from that. Um, Scott or Hannum, do you have any advice or thoughts about teaching overseas? Scott, you worked in China for many years.
Hi, I would say that China is not a good place to teach ESL anymore since
Yeah,
the pandemic years. But I have a lot of friends going to Vietnam
right.
and Taiwan, and that still seems pretty cool, but not mainland China.
Yeah. Okay. But can you just kind of guide through, like, how did you find out about the roles? Was it through an institution? Was it through an Indeed ad? Because I know on Indeed, there's often companies advertising. What was the process for you to end up at the place you did, the province and city in China?
Oh, that's a little bit. I was lucky because I was already at the city itself. I was living in the city, and I I would have to say Leah's suggestion is probably the best one. Networking, word
Hmm.
of mouth. That's what I used when I was living in China. That's all I know.
Okay, good. Okay. Any other
Yeah,
questions? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I have interest myself, but I never did an official search for that. Um, Middle East countries like
Mhm.
Dubai, I don't
Yeah.
know, Dubai is not, they can be a good fit also. I know people um, working there and they look happy. I don't know. And I don't know. I can ask Trevor for future reference and you
Yeah,
can share.
sure.
So I have couple of friends working as an ESL instructor overseas. Um, Bangladesh that I know, Dubai, and the one in Dubai she's doing. By the way, that one is also can be a second income source. Like the organization called Common City Walk.
Okay.
It's something like that. Kumon? It's like
Oh, Kumon, yeah.
Kumon.
Yeah.
So my friend is doing that in Dubai, and there are several here too. And one of my friends, she did that here. So I can search it up. I can collect some information and share it with you, and you can share with,
Mhm.
um,
Perfect.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I looked into actually I looked into traveling and teaching in the Middle East in the last year, over the last year, because there are many opportunities. Typically, it's tax free, and your salary can be anywhere from 70 to 100,000. So when you when you calculate that it's tax free, it's because of their trade agreements, it is quite lucrative within that. Okay. There's multiple organizations. We'll gather some websites. There's one called Bridges Tessel or TEFL from the US. They have a whole list of job postings. There's another one, ESL Dave's Cafe. We'll compile a list of some of these, and they're worldwide platforms for companies to post jobs and for people to look. Just always be cautious and follow up, make sure it's a legitimate place, never send money, all the common scam things that that can be out there. Um, okay. Any last questions before we wrap up? Going once, going twice. Okay. So again, thank you so much for joining us. We're glad that we've had this chance to be together, and each of us has shared a little bit of our perspectives and background and experiences with, just balancing everything. And it's not easy. Some people are moving a little bit more towards retirement. Some people have small kids. Some of us here are single, but each stage of life, we have our challenges and looking at ways that we're making an income. And so feel free again to reach out to any of us. We will be providing links and emails in the comments once we post this video on the TESOL Manitoba YouTube channel. And on there, there are some other videos of past PDs and some future ones that we'll add. But there are some there as well of ways to increase your income, ways to reduce your expenses that I led a few like last year. And then there's other trainings there as well. So thank you so much for joining us today. We hope whichever city and place across Canada that you're in, that you're able to stay warm. It's -20 right now, although the sun is shining, so it looks like, +20. Um,
beautiful,
and
yeah.
look forward to being in touch with you. So thank you. Yeah, thanks, Victoria.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
Take care.
thank you.
Thank you, Trevor.
Yeah,
And
thanks,
thank you,
Adam.
Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trevor, are we staying behind?
If you want to stay for another minute or two and we want to just debrief, I need to leave fairly soon after, but yeah, we could chat for 2 or 3 minutes after.
Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, thank you to those that have joined today.